What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow back with Motor City Lions Talk. We're a Saturday video. And Golden Tate, to get right into it, is cut right into the Detroit offensive line. He gave it to him today in Detroit CBS article. I'm going to link the article in the description. Hit the little drop down arrow. Article will be right there so you know that it's real, true, facts, whatever adjective you want to use. But, he did get cut into the offensive line pretty much. Says that, it's making him rush his work. He said it's frustrating when you run a good route, get open, and you see a quarterback running for his life. He says they don't try to blame anybody, but it's pretty much getting hard not to blame somebody when a position on the team is so weak and it's so poisonous to the production of the offense. You know what I'm saying? And Tate had to say something. I guess he didn't want to say something. I guess somebody asked him a question, and he felt he had time today. Or that day he had time. And he just said it's been, frustrating. They've been terrible. He right, man. It's been terrible, man. The right tackle, I can't even remember his name. He's been playing so bad. I don't know how I forgot it. Lang has been banged up, and when he playing, he ain't been consistent because he been injured the whole year. Glasgow, he been, missing blocks and being on some BS this year, even though he's a center and not a left guard. Greg Robinson, he took a lot of flack and blame for it. And people say when Taylor Decker get back, I was saying that as well. When Taylor Decker back, everything will be all right. It's not going to be all right. Because, the Pro Football Focus ranked these guys that had the worst offensive line. And that's where we spend our money at this offseason. And it ain't panned out, man. It ain't panned out. They was actually right. We scoffed, we laughed at it, and they was trill on it. They was absolutely telling the truth. And they spent all that money up front on these guys, and they ain't doing their job, pretty much. And what's funny about it, we let Larry Rofer go to the Saints. He balling over there. We let Riley Reeve go to the Minnesota Vikings. He's balling over there. He's their best running pass blocker. For years, we was blaming him for the run game being lackadaisical and piss poor. And he's over there thriving and producing. And you know what it comes down to with the Detroit Lions? It comes down to coaching. The offensive line is not being coached up right. They're not being schemed up right. And that's what it comes down to. And the offensive coordinator is not doing anything to accommodate that. Having the piss poor offensive line. He's not calling a lot of 2- and 3-step drops. He's not calling a lot of quick hitters. He's calling the same plays, running the ball on first down every time. He's not getting creative, putting Tate in the backfield, then motioning him out. He's not motioning Marvin Jones. He's not putting Marvin Jones in the slot. He's not bunching them up a lot together so they can't be bumped off the line to get a quick release. He's not doing anything. He's not coming with no new wrinkles. He's not coming with no new offensive formations. He's not doing anything creative to confuse the defense like Carolina did versus us. They did a lot of motions and a lot of different stuff, to keep the pass rush off balance. They haven't thought about going into a no huddle at all, and that's when Stafford at his best. They should think about going to the no huddle to slow the pass rush down. Then you can hit them with some draws and some runs to get your offense some rest, your receivers some rest. They don't think about doing anything creative. It's the same vanilla offense. And yes, Jim Bob Cooter, I am blaming you. He hasn't progressed. He hasn't, evolved. And it's the same offensive plays, and the NFL catches up with you. They watch tape on you all offseason to catch up, especially division foes, and they got the beat on you. So at this point, I wouldn't be opposed to firing every coach on the staff. I understood they gave Caldwell an extension. Unless he wants to step in and call offensive plays, which he's been refusing to do, and he called the offensive plays for the Baltimore Ravens down the stretch for Cam Cameron when they won the Super Bowl and Flacco was like 13 touchdowns and 1 interceptions. Unless he's going to step in and call the plays or find somebody that can call the plays, I would just kick everybody out except for Terrell Austin. If he might become a coach pretty soon. It's just time for them to do a change. Time to get a proven coach in there, a proven offensive coordinator like Norv Turner. You could look at Sean McVay, went over there to the Los Angeles Rams and made Jared Goff look like the GOAT, the MVP. You know what I'm saying? And that just shows you. The coaching in Detroit is terrible. It's time to tear it down, except for Terrell Austin, and get some new coaches. The offensive line coach is piss poor. They had 2 great offensive linemen. And Larry Warford, I understand, was injured, and Riley Reeve. And they go somewhere else, and they lighten it up, and we got these new offensive linemen, and they being piss poor. But that's telling you it's the coaching, and I got to agree with Golden Tate, and I'm glad that he said something. I know they're not trying to point the finger and start any schism in the locker room, but it needed to be said. maybe a light of fire under those guys, but those guys have been very, very piss poor this year. And it hasn't progressed. It got worse and worse and worse. And on top of that, some of them are injured and came into the season injured, and it's not working for the team. And the offensive coordinator is not adjusting, and it's wearing on the defense. The defense that's pretty darn good. Now they're starting to get injured. They're starting to get tired, and now they're starting to look just as bad as the offense. So it is what it is. Let me know what y'all think. We gone.